To say you should only submit one magazine at a time. They don't like it if you're simultaneously submitting. I thought, okay, but then it takes 3 months for them to reject you, And it's so great because now with email you can get rejected immediately. So at least the waiting's not as long. But anyway, so I'm slowly getting one rejection after another. I'm like, okay, well, Ladies Home Journal, they're going to make Good Housekeeping's going to be so sorry they rejected this story. It's about what a slob I am, and I thought, well, a woman's magazine would this is a humorous story about that. And so one rejection after another, and finally, just to have my own therapy, this is how I first started saying, okay, well, I'm just going to publish my letters and give them out to people. So I did, and people were reading. This is like what it looked like in the old days. Me just slapping it together gave me some sort of thrill. But then, lo and behold, somebody told me about this magazine, Welcome Home. And it's the kind that was just, people get it in their mailbox. It's not big and shiny. You don't see it at the newsstand. But I was now starting to get desperate. I thought, well, nobody's ever heard of them. Maybe they'll think I'm a big kid. And she said, I'm sorry, we're, a little magazine. We can't pay you. I said, that's fine, that's fine. So I gave up my little dreams of the Winnebago and traveling around the country and everyone wanting to meet me. I was so excited that I, of course, wrote letters to everyone. I'm going to be published in the September issue. Oh my gosh, our magazine. Oh, we're sorry, Mrs. Saunders. We found a good story about laundry that fit in next month, October to come. But I go to my mailbox and I pull it out, and there is my story. My life as Apple Betty, I think is the name of it. It's in there. But my story. And then when I read it, I go, actually, you're right. But you know what? I learned something. It was about apples, and that was an October issue, and that was their theme. So I'm starting to figure things out. Okay, it's not how well you write, it's how you're writing the right thing. Is your title good? You know what I mean? Because I didn't change my title, it fit in with their theme. And then lo and behold, there's a story I wrote about Elizabeth that I had submitted several places, just how I had, gone from trying to have, God strike me dead and all these horrible things happen to me, nuclear bombs hitting me and all that, and how I finally got over it and started enjoying life again. I thought, well, that would be a nice story. And actually a lot of people liked it, but nobody would publish it. But then my sister-in-law was at a party and happened to mention, because Elizabeth was born at Christmas, I called her, Elizabeth, a Christmas blessing. She happened to mention, she met an editor of a magazine, and she said, oh, my sister-in-law is trying to get a story published. I think it's called Elizabeth, a Christmas blessing. Oh, great! I need that story, because I have my December issue, and we need Christmas rejected over and over. I'd get calls from editors. They'd be laughing. Oh, this is really funny. I can't believe this is such a funny story about a severely handicapped girl, but it doesn't fit in with what we're doing, but maybe you could try. But so they were giving, these editors took the time to give me some really good advice, and I kept trying the next editor that you were telling me about. But it was getting rejected all over the place, and I thought, you know what, I'll just try self-publishing it and see what happens. So this is what I did. This is called GBC binding. I just, I had it professionally edited, because like I said, remember I didn't take any English classes, at Cornell, so I wanted to make sure that it was professionally edited. I wrote an article about my daughter's disease. I never focused on why she caught it, because I didn't want to think about why didn't my OBGYN warn me, because that was too horrible of a thought, like that our whole lives could have been different if they just warned me about this disease. So right after she died, I had a dream that I was in a support group session for parents with kids that were born with the same disease as mine, and they were all going, my daughter's 1, mine's 2, and I'm like, well, I can't let them come to me, because they're going to know that Elizabeth's 16, and I've known about it all these years, and I haven't somehow made it known to the country, and they're about to get to my turn, and I wake up like in a sweat, and it's like, oh my gosh, I know what I have to do. So I wrote an article, I contacted CMV experts from all over the country, and actually my husband's a scientist. We went to a conference in California, and that's where I met a lot of viral scientists there, and I told them about my what I wanted to write. Now making those connections, I was invited to speak at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. For some reason I decided to go with a publisher, because I didn't have time to do, I love their cover design, I thought it was perfect. I just didn't have time to have all those thoughts, because I needed it in time for the conference. And like I said, it had really been written over, this book took me actually 16 years to write. It was really ready to go. I just, like I said, I changed the shift to be all about my daughters and their pets. They'd one, dysfunctional pet after another. So it's a fun story. It's meant for you to get to know Elizabeth in a fun, light way. But anyway, you know it's work to self-publish. I didn't have the time. So I let this guy publish it, and it's good for some things, but I'll never again. I really will self-publish. Major publisher, I think it's much easier to be self-published. I really do, because then I could do what I wanted. I had all these like Chinese and people, Finnish, all these people coming up to me after the conference, after I spoke. I want to translate your book into my language so I can get it into my country. I'm thinking, oh great, I call the publisher. Oh yeah, they can buy the rights for this, this, and this. You know what I mean? Suddenly got very involved, and these are just scientists. That, you know what I mean? If I had self-published it, I could have said, fine, do it. I'll get a publisher out, you know, a printer out there, because I knew they would be promoting it. You know what I mean? Like, you have so much more online place. You go to www.lulu.com, and they tell you, okay, what do you want? You know, and you can type in how many words it is, what you're prepared to do for it, what kind of binding do you want, and they'll give you a price of what it costs to set it up. They have some cover art that they can self-publish children's novel. And I had nobody to answer to anything. Oh, you want it for this program? Sure. And I just printed up a bunch more. There was none of this, oh, we'll get back to you. Well, then they have to pay this. And I'm like, that's a pain. I started wanting to get published in magazines, like the kind that are shiny. And I thought, okay, might as well try Rockland magazine. So I called them. I said, I'm starting to learn that, you know, like they get a zillion emails. I just call. Who's the editor? Who do I speak to? I wrote a story. A friend of mine, he broke the World Guinness record for going down the Mississippi to raise awareness for Rett syndrome. I called Rockland magazine. Would you like this story? Yes, but we can't pay you. I said, fine. I just wanted to get my foot in the door with a magazine. Even though it's a local, it's not the big that I always dreamed of. But then, lo and behold, he calls me and says, I have another story. I can't pay you, but we could just kind of see if you can take assignments. Will you go to Nyack and track down Russell Crowe? I was like, you gotta be kidding me! Because I learned how to write short. I could only write these big, long things. And it's so important to learn how to keep it short. So I submitted the story, and right before it, like, the deadline was, he said, you know, Russell Crowe never played at Vertigo. What? You know, I'm already ruining my reputation. He said, yeah, no. Somebody said, no, he never did. And I said, he told me he did. So now I'm learning another thing. Double check everything. The editor didn't think I was a total jerk, because then he did really like the story, and he gave me my very first paying story, started even getting paid more money for. Was Ginsberg Developers saw that article and said, oh, will you write about some of the locations where we're building? Just give us your rates. I'm like, somebody wants me to give my rates? I'm like, what are my rates?